Yeah, I know what you're thinking. You can get a job in the Middle East simply by trying or by magic, through others or by fluke. Remember that competition is everywhere. Some here, some there, but bam! Loy Machedo is the best.
All right, in this video, I'm going to share with you my battle or my struggle with keeping my temper down, and in some ways how I have succeeded, and in some ways how I'm still struggling. And through this video, I hope I give you something of value, especially if you have temper issues, you get irritated very fast, you have road rage or whatever. And the predominant reason for that is when we react to a situation with temper, I don't think it ever comes out well. So I'll share with you real life experiences in this video. Feel free to put your thoughts and comments down below in the comment section. Okay. First things first. If you're new to the channel, my name is Loy Machedo. I am a personal branding strategist that helps people get well-paying jobs in UAE, Middle East, UAE, especially Dubai. People also take my services for Canada, Australia, Europe, and also parts of USA. I also offer services for coaching, consulting for personal, professional issues. Details are put down in the description. So now, temper. I'm pretty sure all of us have, a kind of button. If it is pressed, we lose our cool. And we lose our temper with people or situations where we can get away with things. Obviously, if suppose there was someone very dangerous or someone very powerful, or let's say the cops and, they were there in front of you, you wouldn't lose your cool. But then there are other situations in our day-to-day lives where maybe we do not have someone who is very dangerous, very influential. Maybe we have just friends surrounding us or people we know. And that is where we think, yeah, I can get away with it. But I can assure you through my experience that nothing good has come out with losing your cool. You might feel a release at that time, but nothing good comes out. And sometimes if your personality is a little bit like mine, where you're constantly thinking, you're constantly generating ideas, you're constantly focused on creativity, and on top of that, you're dealing with idiots, idiots of the social media world, I'm pretty sure your fuse will be very short. And, if you are almost 24/7 like me online, the number of characters, the number of idiots, the number of, I call them the people who escaped the hole in the condom. They should have been stuck there. So these individuals really mess up your head. Okay. And yes, remember, when you think a lot, when you're involved in creativity, when you're involved in creating things, and you're dealing with incompetence, or you're dealing with slow people, or you're dealing with people who are just not up to the mark, you obviously lose your cool. Okay. And then there are other, medical issues, or there are habitual, issues. So in my case, it has always been because I've been involved in creativity, I've been involved in wanting to achieve a certain level of perfection, and I always want to be the best of the best in whatever I do. Whenever I see anyone who's not up to the mark, I can't stand it. And I think what happens is, as the day progresses, your short fuse gets worse. These are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 incidents that I could think of that really defined my temper. Number one was, I think it all started with me going to the gym. When you go to the gym, when you go to do workouts, there is this tendency or this protocol that bodybuilders and powerlifters follow, where you psych yourself before lifting a heavy weight. See, remember, if you just go and see a heavy weight and you try to lift, you'll be like, I can't, yeah. But then when you start focusing and getting angry, and then you say, now I will lift, your strength increases by a certain amount. But then when you get pissed off and you psych yourself and you're red, that is why you see certain powerlifters and bodybuilders slap their faces until they are red. Their eyes are, bulging with veins. I used to practice this technique, including self-hypnosis and, the powerlifters or bodybuilders way of psyching yourself, where you become red, your eyes are red. And when you open your eyes, you want to, I don't know, break something, kill something, it is that bad. And the rage used to be so powerful that I wouldn't even feel the weight. It used to be so strong. And obviously your strength increases by, 30, 40%. But then the drawback of this was, yes, I would successfully lift heavy weights and be this crazy guy. But then when you keep doing it over and over and over again, over the period of time, something can happen that can trigger this. Like, for example, let's say, Tony Robbins speaks of anchoring. Anchoring means, for example, if I were to, let's say, do the heavy weight and I slap myself here, okay, I slap near my ears, I slap, 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 and I get angry and I think angry and I think of moments that made me crazy. Have a look at powerlifting and bodybuilding competitions where they lift heavy weights. You'll see people do that, a particular body part or area of they have this particular touch, or they scream, some even smell. It's called smelling salts. Okay, you can Google search that. So if I were to keep hitting myself here and thinking of dark, sinister, evil things and getting angry, if by chance I'm not in the gym and I'm outside and someone were to do this, or I were to do it by mistake, it could trigger that very same emotions. Or let's say it was just a bad day and I got angry and something just hit, or I just visualized something that can really trigger a response. So gym used to be one, but then it kind of started overlapping into other areas. And I think the first incident that really made me realize that this is overlapping into other areas, my first girlfriend that time, I won't take her name out of due respect, Pakistani girl, very nice, very loving, very sweet girl. I remember those days it was the Nokia communicator, 9800. I'm not too sure. It was like a compass box where you could open. Those days you didn't have a screen like Apple. You had those keyboard kind of phones. And if you just Google search Nokia communicator, it is like a compass box. This poor girl bought a brand new Nokia communicator for my birthday. Okay. And surprised me. And, I was in my 20s and I was staying in sharing accommodation. I don't know what happened. I don't know what did she say, or something happened. Silly as I was, I got angry at that point and I smashed this brand new communicator. And remember, me and her were not earning very big salaries, and she must have really saved 1 month. And I smashed it completely, man. Brand new on my birthday. And then after, I think, 1 hour of shouting and screaming at her and all that, by the time I cooled off, I felt bad myself. And then I gave that communicator to repair. The poor thing, she was treated her so bad in so many instances. So that was the first time I realized this temper issue can really be bad. And then I think the other incidents that I can remember is when driving, if anyone would try to come in, you know what happens. You're driving in your lane and this guy's trying to come in, and then you get pissed off. Suddenly something sparks up. I don't know what it is with driving. So he's trying to come in, you're trying to come in, both are nearly touching, and then you move and you try to maneuver, and he's not ready to give up, and there's a car in the front and car at the back, and as you keep going, jerking the car forward, I don't know, the blood just boils. So I nearly had an accident with one guy. We both were going at crazy speed, and then in the traffic jam, and we are trying to race each other for some bloody reason. I nearly hit a divided because I was looking at him, and then when I saw in the front, it was like a turning. I would have hit the pavement and I don't know, maybe toppled the car, but thankfully nothing happened. The other one was where I shouted and screamed at a Emirati local when I was in UAE. And little did I know that he had contacts and connections with the police. So he got me in trouble because I'm an Indian passport holder. Emiratis are superior. So there I got really scared. And I would say my road rage got controlled by then. I just shouted at him and he nearly one of the best things he ever did. Seriously. They put me 1 hour in this local jail, which scared the living daylights out of me. It was my first time being there. So I was very, very afraid. I thought I would be there for, I don't know, forever. They kept me there for 1 hour, one and a half hour and tried to scare me. So after that, road rage got control there. But yeah, like I told you, temper. The third one, if I take you now to where, this one is very critical, where my temper got me into trouble. You know that 2011, I had that YouTube video where I lost everything and suicide in India. The reason why that happened is because I used to bodybuild and take steroids, which kind of like makes you hyper. And I've verbally argued with the owner. I had my ego, and when you piss off a guy who has money and power, it never ends up good for you. So had I used common sense, I don't think I'd have been in that trouble. It nearly destroyed my life and my career because of temper, and it all happened there. So fast forward, when I came here, I remember I posted this video where that particular day I was really pissed off and I told my wife to do something and she didn't listen. And then finally, I have this Forza, which is slightly a powerful bike, and she was having this baby. I think it was a 6th month, and I was so angry. And I drove. Thankfully, this is the internal insides of the forest. There was no car. I drove so fast, and when I just hit the brakes, she nearly fell off the bike. It's a big bike, so she sits a little high, and it's kind of slippery seat. Thankfully, I was able to hold her, and she grabbed my shirt at the back. And then it suddenly occurred to me, well, what are you doing, man? Like when I was driving, I was like, I don't give a fuck about this. When you get angry, how you think, I'll die and let her die, let everyone die. And then when I came to the T junction, she nearly fell and I put my hand. I was like, what are you doing, man? I was like, what the fuck am I doing? What is this? Just for my mood swing, I'm going to endanger the life of my wife and baby? So, I cried. I really cried after that. I kind of realized what is happening. And ever since, I think I've calmed down. Like, I did lose my temper 2 days ago when I told my wife to do something and she was lazy and she didn't do it. And what had happened was, I have 17 cameras in the house. Okay, not 2 or 3, 17, every angle. So I had, I'm doing my thing in my room and my baby was sleeping. I was in the toilet. And, my dog barks and there was a delivery guy on the door and the dog is barking. And I'm in the toilet with my phone. And my wife was sitting here and playing with the sugar gliders. Sugar gliders are these squirrels. You can Google search, cute ones. So I had bought it. So she was very happy to play with them. There are 4 of them. So the dog is barking and there is this guy outside and the dog is just barking. And remember, we can see the cameras on our smart devices. My wife has 2 phones. I have 3 phones, and all our tablets. We can literally see it. So I can hear it in the toilet. And my wife, she's not doing any work. She's watching YouTube videos like a movie and playing with the pet. And the dog is barking and the guy is waiting outside. And finally, I think after 2 or 3 minutes, not 10 minutes, a minute or he finally calls me up and says, I'm waiting outside, like in broken English. So I immediately scream and tell my wife, there's someone outside. And my wife is like, okay. Like as if, yeah. And then she says, okay, she didn't hear what I said. She came to the door, yeah, what? I said, someone's bloody waiting on the, okay. So she also showed me her temper. And by the time she collected the stuff and came in, and by the time I finished the toilet, I was fuming. She was irritated. I know this all sounds silly, but trust me, once you get married, these silly things are the things you fight. I gave it to her left, right, and center. I was, because, you don't have a high pressurized job. You just sit at home watching movies and relaxing. At least pay attention when the dog is barking, and you have bloody 17 cameras on your phone. You don't even have to move to see the dog, what the dog is watching. There are like 5 or 6 cameras right in the front of the house. You just have to look at your phone. Oh, I lost my cool. I gave her a bit of shouting. Thankfully, baby was sleeping. But then the good thing was, normally I harbor anger for a week, sometimes before. But this one was after half an hour, I said to myself, okay, happened, just forget it. Because don't want to keep a temper with the baby. So baby woke up. So by the time I came out from my room, just give my wife a hug and I said, you know whose fault it is, no? And she said yes, and we cooled it off. But the last incident that I want to give you, this one is a very important one, which actually changed me. And now I'm more careful about my temper. I was, as usual, sitting down here in my office space and doing work. And my baby has this crazy habit. She is hyper ADHD. I'm ADHD. She's hyper ADHD. She has more energy than I have. And she has this very unique ability where if she wants something, she will say, like in Thai, she will keep keep calling you. And until she gets your attention, she's not going to stop. So I was doing important work here. And she was with my wife. My wife was cooking. And I'm doing the important work here and I'm talking to my client. And obviously, my baby is making noise and that's irritating me. Finally, I said goodbye to my client, but I was getting irritated with my baby making all these sorts of crazy noises. And then, I don't know, she came in and some of my stuff was kept on the table. I don't exactly remember what it was. And there was a beverage or something. So she was trying to call me and I'm saying, wait, wait, wait. And then that beverage nearly fell down, almost fell down. And, I have my iPad, electronics, the phone, water, if it falls, can spoil. I lost it. I said, I don't know. I just shouted, what are you doing? Get out of here. And my baby got a fright. And my wife heard my, sudden outburst. She came running. My baby was like literally afraid because I don't shout every time. This was the one of, and you know how babies are, small baby girl. So she actually, pouted her mouth and she had this really sad face and her tears welled up. And as man, if you're a father and you see your daughter, it'll really break you, and what made it so hard was she was quivering and the tears were there. And then, I was pissed off because, I'm in the right. I'm not in the wrong. My wife is there. And this poor little thing, she takes my arm and in Thai, she explains that we are family. This is a habit that my daughter has. Whenever the wife is angry, whenever I'm angry, not me, especially my wife, her way of patching up is we are family. We have to all be happy. Okay, we have to smile. She shows a photograph which I've printed out outside. We are family. So she hugs my hand, my arm. She kisses it and her tears are welling down. And she says sorry and she says we are family and she says that she loves me. And Ah, it it just killed me inside, man. And I felt so bad. And then she was like saying sorry to me. She was saying sorry to the wife, and I just told my wife, just take her out, please, because she tried to drop the beverage here. I told her, so she took her out. She was also upset, and I was like sitting in the room. I was like, oh man, come on. I had to gather my thoughts. After I gathered my thoughts, ah, being a father, what I can do, I took some chocolates from here and I went outside, and she was hugging the mother and crying, and you know those tears where they are really hurt inside. And I gave her something, and she still was pouting her lips and saying we are family, and then she was saying I felt so bad, and I tried to cheer her up, didn't work. Then finally I told her, okay, we will go outside. She didn't agree so fast, but finally I told my wife, and let's just go out, and went and bought her a juice. And babies tend to forget, but deep down it made me feel like terrible, man. That is why after that incident, it just etched itself so much in my head that every time I get angry now, I just think of that moment, because she's like so innocent. She doesn't know whether she's irritating you. She has to give you space, whether I'm busy, or she just knows we are family and be happy. And so whenever I'm going to lose my cool, I look at her, I think of her, I'm like, end of the day, she's going to get hurt, and then I'll also feel terrible. So what I do is I just get up and go for a walk and try to take my mind off. And yeah, it has been working a little bit. Still have to work more harder. Where's my dog barking? Okay. So the point I'm trying to make here is, okay, one thing is, as you get married and have kids, you do change. You do want to become a better human being, a better father, better role model, you know, because it's someone that you love. And when you see that child, when you see that baby, so innocent, it doesn't even know that it pissed you off and it's at fault. It just shows you that, pouty lip and tears coming out, and you're angry, and she comes to kiss your arm and she tells you I love you, and how can you get angry, man, then? So with my wife and baby, I'm trying to be a not so moody guy, although I am. So yeah, one is your family does change you. The second one is, I think, if I could give you a message, I would say, be aware of the fact that your wife or your kids are not your punching bag, and don't take out someone else's anger out on them. And if in case you're not married, I would just tell you that, as a during my bachelor life, or during my singles life, or during my playboy days, I'm lucky that I didn't do anything that I had to pay a very big price for it. And luckily for me, I don't smoke, I don't drink, and I have to remove my anger out in the gym. I've seen some people do things which not only they really regret, it has changed the course of their life. They are in prison, or they've been deported, or a fight where someone actually broke the arm, because of a fight. So it's not worth it. And thankfully, I'm not one of those guys who likes to engage in macho fight and this and that. So if I could give you a take home message, it would be, just be wary of your emotions, feelings, and your temper. And if you do have one, either channelize it by going to the gym or meditation, or figure out a way how you can manage it without hurting both yourself, which is most important, and yes, the ones around you. And especially if you're driving, my only piece of advice for you is, trust me, it's not worth it. Because end of the day, that road rage that you have, that guy cut you and came forward, he'll only, this is a factor, even if he overtakes you, after 1 hour, you'll find him in more or less the same lane as you. After zigzagging and going all the way, he's just 2 or 3 cars ahead of you. You both are in the same. Unless, of course, he drives like ultra mad to the point where he's ready to kill himself just to be 10 cars ahead of you. And I see people still drive like that here, so it's not worth it. Risking your life, your well-being, the lives of your loved ones, just to reach your destination few minutes early, or to race a guy and show, oh, I'm a bigger guy than you. Not worth it. So anyway, this is what I wanted to share with you. Feel free to let me know your comments. And yeah, I know you'll feel very silly me sharing these incidents, but these small things are the things that really trigger people. Lucky for me, I don't get angry very often. I get irritated very fast. I get moody very fast, but I've never allowed my temper to control me. It's okay to get angry, but it's not okay to allow your anger to control you. So that's all I want to tell you. Good, bad, ugly, feel free. Put your thoughts down below. It's me signing off. You guys take care.